What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one I want to talk about what's happening with Nvidia, Tesla, SPY, and the overall markets. But just notes that I am not a financial planner and take nothing I say as financial advice. And then don't forget to smash the like button. So, anyways, guys, about the market right now, Nvidia has been dumping quite a bit despite the fact that they have decent earnings. It wasn't really enough to impress Wall Street. And as a result, the share price is continuing to dip. So the share price is down pretty hard for Nvidia. We're down over 6% right now. We were down like 9% at one point, and there is a risk of this dipping even lower. Because Nvidia is dipping, the whole market's going to likely follow the trends. I'm going to make a very, very quick video and break down exactly why we will likely see more downside in the markets, especially if we lose some key supports. So let me note one more thing though. Guys, I have a big problem right now. I have a big Wi-Fi outage in my entire area. So I don't actually have Wi-Fi, and I'm depending on my hotspots to connect to the internet and record this video. So the issue with that is using my hotspots, the connection can be very slow sometimes, and uploading videos will take forever if I make the videos way too long. So I'm forced to be in a position where I have to keep this video very short. I'm going to be making a very, very quick update, and hopefully by tomorrow my Wi-Fi issues are going to be fixed. It's a very, very big outage in my whole area, and I've been told by my provider that it might not be fixed until 9 p.m. So it's going to take a while. Hopefully things are fixed by tomorrow. But anyways, that's why I'm going to make this video kind of quick. So what are we seeing for the markets? Nvidia has a head and shoulders like structure, big rejection, and now we're down 7%. That's despite the fact that we had decent earnings. They announced that they approved a $50 billion buyback. They had an EPS of 68 cents adjusted and revenue at $30.04 billion above expectations. So we had good guidance for Q3, good growth overall. It was actually very, very strong, and everything was decent. You could argue that maybe the growth, despite it being strong and beating expectations, it still wasn't enough for them to really impress Wall Street. And then Wall Street are also just full of manipulation, so it's no surprise for what they're trying to do. But despite that, we don't have to worry about all of this. At the end of the day, the share price is dumping. Nvidia is still down like 7%. It's barely holding up. It's really struggling to hold, and it's going to likely continue to dip lower, in my opinion. So for tomorrow, there's one more thing worth mentioning. 1 hour before the market opens, we have the GDP numbers coming out. I'll talk more about that tomorrow. So this might affect the market to some extent, but nonetheless, the market is still likely going to turn bearish, especially as we're losing some key supports. So what do I see for Nvidia? I think Nvidia is going to likely continue to decline to 114, and there's more downside potential for it. We could even dip below that and continue to fall. We're down 7% now. We're just looking very weak. And with this big red bar forming, this is going to likely drag the market down lower. This is going to be used as the catalyst to dump things. Bitcoin is consolidating. We have support currently around this 58,000 area and resistance at 59,500. We may continue to consolidate for a bit. This is once again a different position because of this different sector. It's not as impacted by Nvidia as many other sectors, but I think that there's going to be a lot of consolidation right over here. And it's just going to trade sideways for now. However, SPY is looking more bearish to me. We have a potential double top like pattern. This is looking like a diamond reversal. This is looking kind of weak to me, especially when you look at the bigger time frames. And if we end up losing 555, so watch that for confirmation tomorrow. We're barely at 555.2 right now. That's the strong support. If we lose that, I think SPY is going to be dipping all the way down, okay, to 550, then 547, and eventually even lower levels. If that breaks, we're going to fill our gap. So I anticipate there's going to be a big drop coming. Most likely, we're barely at support right now. Watch 555 breaking as our confirmation. We'll be dipping all the way down towards 550, then 547, and eventually fill this gap if that fails to 543. Now, it is possible if we do try to hold 555 and try to rebound, we'd be looking at 558 as resistance, but I find that unlikely that we're going to hold. I think the odds greatly favor the downside. Looking at the fact that we're rejecting on the 4-hour and the daily time frame, we had the bearish divergence I was talking about earlier, but I wasn't sure if it would play out because it depended on Nvidia. But because Nvidia is dumping, they're going to use that as the reason to dump things, in my opinion. So if you look at SPY, we look more bearish. I favor the downside. I think we're going to be coming down to many of these imbalances. And I anticipate more downside, in my personal opinion. For ES, it's the same thing essentially. We are losing support. We lost the low we were trying to hold. This will likely be dipping, all the way down to the lower 5500s. Looks more bearish. If we reclaim 5600, we could try to bounce, but that looks unlikely. We are favoring downside. Tesla's favoring downside. We're at 202 now, breaking the lows of the day. Tesla's going to likely be dipping into the 190s. I'm going to be looking for this imbalance towards 196, followed by 192. So we look more bearish on Tesla. To turn back up, you got to break 212, but we are favoring the downside. NQ is looking a little bit more bearish. We need to reclaim 19,400 to turn back up, but because we lost this, we're favoring a move down towards the 18,000s, the high 18,000s. We look more bearish. QQQ looks bearish. We got to reclaim 472 to turn back up. If we don't do so, we favor the downside. And I think we're going to be looking at our first support right here at 464. If 464 breaks, we're going to be looking for 460, then 458. We favor downside nonetheless. And I think 464 at least is coming, if not well below that. For Aapl, we kind of rejected here. We're going to be looking for resistance at 228, support at 224.5. I presume we might get close to 224.5, then consolidate, maybe dip lower. So we'll see how things go from there. For Palantir, just real quick, we look more bearish. We got a big rejection after Nvidia's earnings. And I think this is easily coming down towards 29. If that fails us, we're going down towards 28.13. Supermicro, looking more bearish on Supermicro. We're dipping. We got to reclaim 500 to turn back up. Otherwise, we favor the downside. When you really zoom out, you can see we're going to likely go to the 300s, 380s likely coming. Nvidia is going to help this dump, so be prepared for that. Rivian is dumping. We're going to be looking for the 13.5 areas for support. If that fails us, I think we're coming back down all the way down. We could be heading for 12.94 again. The IWM Russell 2000 looks more bearish. We're going to be looking for 215 again. If that fails us, we'll be dipping even lower. So I think we might be dipping towards that target. Just a couple more, guys, and I'll conclude the video. AMD is dipping, looking very bearish. I think that we could be dipping down towards 137. If that fails us, we're coming down towards 133. We look more bearish. Watch 140 support than those other targets. ARM looks more bearish. Got to reclaim 130 to turn back up. Otherwise, we favor downside. Our target is 117, followed by 108. Coinbase looks more bearish. We're looking at 188 as support. If that does not hold, we're coming down to 183, followed by 178. We look more bearish nonetheless. Amazon is dumping right now as well, or at least it's dipping. I wouldn't say it's dumping, it's dipping. So we're looking at 169 as support. If that does not hold, we're looking for 166. We look more bearish. Meta is also dipping quite a bit right now. We have this support that's going to be approached at 509. If that fails us, we're going down to 505. That's still favoring the downside. Microsoft is also dipping right now. We're on a bit of a downtrend right here. We could be dipping down towards 405. If 405 fails us, we'll be dipping even lower towards 402, favoring the downside. Google is dumping right now. It's down quite a bit. We're going to be looking for 163 as support. If that fails us, we're coming back down to 162. Then eventually 160. It still favors downside. The VIX is going to likely bounce. I think that we're up 10% right now. And if we try to break past 7.07, we could be looking for a big push. So that's favoring upside. The dollar is also bouncing a little bit. That's a bearish signal. We might feel this imbalance and push higher. That's bearish for the markets. So the market is looking more bearish going into tomorrow. We're going to be looking for a dip. SPY is barely at 555 right now, but it's going to likely lose that. Nvidia is going to be used as the catalyst, as the excuse to dump things. So be prepared, guys. I just want to give you guys a warning. With that being said, one more check on Nvidia. We're down. Let's just double check this. 6.5% right now. We could dip even lower. So be careful, guys. This is going to be used as the perfect catalyst to cause the market to dip. All right. So that's going to be your quick update. Thank you all so much for listening. Hopefully my Wi-Fi issue is solved. There's a big outage in my area, and hopefully that's resolved by tomorrow. And then once that's taken care of, hopefully I'll be back to normal, giving you guys more in-depth updates, at least as time goes on. Thank you for listening, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow before the market opens to report the GDP numbers. Until then, have a great day, night, or evening. Stay strong, and peace out.